You need the looks and the confidence that attract everyone and the self-respect that only lets a few stay. Hello loves, my name is Marilia and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if it isn't your first time here. Today, I am very excited for today's video. We're gonna talk about how to become magnetic and attractive and have that energy that just brings everyone in and everyone just wants to be around you and be friends with you and date you. I've always been told by people I just met that I have such great vibes or such a good energy, and that is such a weird phenomenon because I'm not usually like the biggest person to, be like, yeah, let's go socialize. I'm not a huge fan of that, but whenever I meet people, it goes over so well, and they're just really in tune with my energy and they just really like my energy, and they tell me that. This is not just my assumption. I didn't really know if I believed in this whole thing that you can just change your energy or change how people view you. I'm like, is this real or is this like in people's heads? But I noticed a huge difference in the way that I'm treated after I worked on myself and I worked on my energy. You see a difference in the behavior from others, not just in myself and my self-confidence. The one thing I've noticed is I get hit on so much now, which is such like a weird experience because I grew up being like the unattractive friend or like the fat friend, or like, oh, I'm just not the pretty one, so I never get hit on. But I get hit on so much now, even compared to when I looked objectively better than I do now. I get hit on more now, and I'm talking like online, in person, with strangers, with people that I already know. And the other biggest thing I've noticed is my mom actually told me this, but after she told me, I started noticing it myself, is when we go out together for like walks or when we go shopping, etc., she always tells me like, why is everyone looking at you? Why are people staring at you? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, who's staring at me? And they're like, we're walking down the street and people are just staring at you. And I'm like, they are? And after that, I started paying attention, and they just do. People, I walk down the street and people stare at me. And that's not when I'm like dressed up and made up and have my hair done. Like, it happens then, but it also happens when I'm going down the street in my sweatpants to get a freaking juice. So in this video, I will tell you how I achieved that and how I made that change in my life, and how you can too, because it's not as hard as it sounds. I promise you, and you're gonna thank me later. Just like all my videos, this video will be divided into 3 parts. The first part being how to tell if your energy is weak, needs to be changed, an energy assessment. The second part is changes you can make in yourself. And the third part is changes in your behavior. Let's start with part 1, energy assessment. So it's actually relatively easy to tell if your energy is like weak or if you need to work on yourself more. And the way to do that is by looking at the way it responds and the way you respond to people, situations, and overall your environment. If you find yourself deeply affected by your surroundings, constantly looking for validation from other people, or in general just reacting super strongly and personally and emotionally to criticism or comments or other people's opinions, that is a huge sign that there is something inside you that needs to be healed, whether that is some personal trauma, some insecurities, or anything, because people can read energy, okay? People can read your energy, and if your energy reeks of desperation or insecurity, people will be able to tell that, because you can do what I say on paper, but if you don't heal that hole within you, it's never gonna feel genuine, and people can tell when someone is being genuine and when they're not. After you make that initial assessment, it's super important to protect your energy while it's healing and while you're going on that healing journey, because that's when your energy is gonna be at its most vulnerable. Think of your energy as a newborn, okay? When babies are born, you don't let anyone around them or anyone touch them because they might get them sick. And as they grow and become stronger and can tolerate more, then they earn more liberties. That's how you're supposed to treat your energy when it's healing. Don't let anyone near it that might poison it or that might taint it. And even if that means that you're gonna be a little bit paranoid about who you let around you, that is fine. One day your energy will be strong enough to protect itself from dusties and losers and weirdos. But until that happens, you're gonna have to do that protecting yourself, meaning that those people are still gonna be flocking to you, but you're gonna have to be the one that steps in and says, no, like, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want you to be around me, because your energy is weak and people can sense it. Think of it like this: would the person I want to be tolerate this behavior? If the answer is no, then you don't tolerate the behavior. To summarize, if you find yourself and your emotions being so easily controlled by situations, people, your environment, then that means that your energy is weak and you need to heal it. And when you're going through that process, you need to be extra vigilant with who you let around you and who gets access to that energy. So protect it like your newborn baby. Let's move on to part 2, changes in yourself, aka things that you can change internally that will make a difference externally. The best and fastest way to becoming magnetic and attractive is to radiate the energy of love. Love is the strongest and most powerful emotion you can experience, and it radiates and it flows from you, and people can sense that. Even though this may sound a little silly, you just have to love life, love everything around you, love yourself, love life itself, love the people around you. Keep doing that until you feel like you're gonna explode with how much love you hold in your heart. Now, you may be wondering, how the hell am I gonna do that? I hate myself, I hate my life, like, I can't do that, I can't just love everything because I don't. And here's how you do that: gratitude. I love gratitude so much because it's so beneficial in so many areas of your life, and this is one of them. Be grateful. I'm gonna teach you how to do that right now, super quickly and super simply and easily. I heard this tip somewhere about gratitude that was basically, if you woke up tomorrow with, and the only things you had are things you were grateful for, what would you wake up with? And after that, it like shifted my whole mindset on gratitude, because I was like, holy shit, what if this happened and I woke up and I didn't have a home and I didn't have my parents and I didn't have my animals because it just wasn't grateful enough for them. So think of it that way. And when you view gratitude that way, you start being grateful for the tiniest, simplest things. Like, I remember once during one of my gratitude meditations, I was literally thanking God or the universe for being born in a world where cats exist and where flowers exist and where the sea exists. Like, how lucky are you that you get to live in a world like that? Like, imagine you were born in a world where the sky wasn't blue or where sun didn't exist. Can you imagine how much more miserable your existence would be? Gratitude will make you realize how much nice things you have in life, which in turn will make you love your life more. And even the negativity that you will experience, because you will experience negativity in your life, you find a way. By being grateful for all the negative things that happened to you in the past, you're able to see the negative things that happen to you now from a different light. Because I think of bad things that happened to me in the past, but I'm like, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I would not trade having this strength for anything. So yeah, while that happened and it sucked, I'm really grateful it did happen, because that's how I am the person I am now. When you love yourself and you love life itself so much, the energy that you radiate, you turn into this big ball of positive, loving energy, and people will gravitate towards that. I saw a super interesting video explaining how gravity in space works, and basically, I'm paraphrasing, so bear with me. They were holding this huge sheet, like 2 people were holding it, and they put a ball in the center, and you could see like the sheet, you can imagine how it went down, and they threw a ball, and since, you know, the sheet looked like that, the ball went around the other ball, going closer to it, and explained that's how basically how gravity works. And think of it that way with your energy, right? Like, if you're this big, massive ball of loving, huge energy, then the weight of your energy will be, will be pulling the sheet down even more, and more people will be attracting faster and faster to you. It's science, guys. Science said it, so you have to do it. Jokes aside, though, I know this is just a metaphor, but I thought it was really, oh my god, do you guys want to say hi? This is Misha, and he is one of my beautiful children. Say hi, Misha. Hello. I am so grateful for you. Anyways, while I acknowledge that that is a metaphor, I think it's a really beautiful way to think of it. And I have found that to be true. Like, the more loving I was to myself and to everything around me, the more people wanted to be around me. Because if you think of it as like more simply, no one will want to be around a person who thinks that everything is awful and life itself is awful and they hate themselves and they hate others and they hate everything. Like, you wouldn't want to be around that. And if you are that right now, don't feel bad for yourself. I'm not saying this to make you feel even worse for yourself. I'm saying this that if you start out there, imagine how far you can go and how much better your life can get. Don't dim your light for everyone else. Don't make yourself smaller just so that other people won't feel as bad for being smaller. Taylor Swift said it best. What's a girl gonna do? A diamond's gotta shine. Like, a diamond is not just gonna stop shining because there are other jewels nearby that don't shine as bright. Okay, next thing you need to do is work on your instincts and your intuition. Trust your gut. There's a reason it exists. It's an evolutionary trait that humans develop to protect themselves from predators. That's what your gut is, and you can still use it, even if you're not protecting yourself from predators, but from bad friends. The more you trust yourself and listen to your gut, the stronger your intuition will become. Trusting and building your intuition is such an important part of healing because it's gonna protect you. This is essentially who is gonna be protecting your energy from negativity moving forward. You know, remember when I told you that your newborn will grow stronger? Well, one of those things that will grow stronger is your intuition, and it will keep bad people and bad negative situations away from you. A good way to strengthen your intuition, other than just listening to yourself more and to your gut more and making your own mistakes, is to tap into your feminine energy, and you will notice a bigger shift there. Next thing is you want to keep yourself physically and mentally healthy and try to prevent or at least reduce stress as much as possible in your life. Don't procrastinate. I know this is a hard one. I myself haven't completely moved on from it, but I am doing my best. My mom always used to say, don't leave for tomorrow what can be done today. And my dad, who's been a procrastinator his whole life, has always urged me to not follow his footsteps because it's not a good way to live. So don't procrastinate, try to work on that, because it also really, it messes with your confidence a lot and your self-worth, because you're like, I can't even get this one thing done. How will I get anything done in my life? Honestly, what's important about like being healthy physically and mentally is the fact that it's a direct result of how you treat yourself. And if you don't treat yourself well, people will be able to pick up on that, and they won't treat you well either. Because if you look at a person who doesn't even care about themselves, why would you care about them? And you might be thinking, well, because I'm a nice person, but not everyone is a nice person. Your energy is essentially the actions that you take. You know, you are what you eat, you are what you consume. Your energy is what you are being and what you are doing. So if you're taking care of yourself, you radiate this energy of self-care and self-love. But if you treat yourself badly, then you radiate this energy, this negative energy of just ugly emotions and lack of care. And that is the opposite of love. And remember what I told you, love is the most attractive energy, and it's the strongest feeling you can experience. If you can't respect yourself, why will someone else? Last but not least, the slightly different approach that is still just as important is to take care of the way you look. The way you look and the way you present yourself and how you look physically can also affect people's perspective of you, because as much as we don't like to hear it, the world is one where physical looks and the looks of things have a really big role, but also because, again, it takes you back to the energy of self-care and self-respect. And looking good and treating yourself good is a sign of self-respect, self-care, and just loving yourself. You need the looks and the confidence that attract everyone, and the self-respect that only lets a few stay. I have videos on both building self-confidence and looking better on my channel, so be sure to check those out. And let's get to part 3, external behaviors. So the first and honestly really important part in your external behaviors is to keep your circle small. Your table has limited space for specific people. Don't let everyone and anyone in, okay? Your energy is sacred. It is important to protect and keep it safe. You don't just give it to everyone else, because guess what everyone wants? The nice, positive energy that you worked hard to build. but not everyone can have it because that honestly just means draining it from you. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you are most around. You can't say, I'm not a gossip, but hang out with people who gossip all the time. You can't say, I take care of myself, but constantly hang around with people who don't take care of themselves and don't treat themselves well. Because, like it or not, your environment always wins. So if your environment is something negative, whether you like it or not, you're gonna end up being that negative thing too. The universe needs balance. That's how the world works. Like, balance will be achieved. That's why when you put ice cubes in a glass of water, the water gets colder and the ice cubes melt because they meet somewhere in the middle. And that's what happens when you, with your amazing positive energy and nice, great mood, hang out with people that are unhappy with their lives, unhappy with themselves, and miserable. You find the middle ground, which usually means that they leave the conversation feeling better and you leave living worse because they drained you. Be polite to everyone, but only open up to people after they've earned it. And not everyone deserves to be this close to you. It sounds mean, but it's the truth. Okay, next up, this will sound weird, but just hear me out for a second. Flirt with everyone. And before this gets confusing, I don't mean hit on everyone, hit on people left and right, lead them on, be weird and make comments. No, I don't mean that. But I mean, treat every person you meet or that you have relationships with, whatever kind of relationship, not just like romantic relationships, as if you're trying to court them. If we break it down, flirting or courting someone is essentially trying to do 3 things. 1, establish closeness and familiarity with that person. 2, let your attractive qualities be shown. And 3, leave a lasting impression. Why shouldn't you be that way with every person you meet? Why should you be that way with only with people that you're trying to establish a romantic relationship with? Flirt with everyone. Treat everyone as if you have an inside joke that only the 2 of you know about. Make conversation with strangers, meet people. Be nice, flirt with them without flirting with them. I made a joke with my butcher about not knowing what I'm gonna eat that night, and we had a whole conversation, took me all the way around the shop to show me one kind of tuna that would go with one of the dishes we were talking about. And we had a whole conversation about what she likes to cook and what I like to cook. Like, it's super simple to establish connections with the people that you meet, and this will leave you and them feeling better because we live in a world where impersonal relationships kind of rule everything. Like, that's just how the world works. You talk with your barista and they give you the same speech like, have a nice day, how are you? Like, they don't care about how you are. By breaking that barrier and becoming closer to that person, you immediately leave an impression way stronger than anyone else they will meet that day. People like to feel special and they like people who make them feel that way. So be that person. It's really not as hard as you would think. Part of that is being a good listener. Like, people just want to be heard. People want to feel seen. And it is so easy to just listen to what people are saying. Ask a simple question and listen to them. Even if it's boring for you, even if you're not that interested in it, just listen to people. In today's society, being alone is kind of the norm. And like I said before, impersonal conversations and impersonal relationships are way too normalized when humans are social creatures. Like, we need each other. We need to be around other people to function properly. So in a day full of impersonal and unemotional interactions, be that one person that breaks through and creates a sort of bond with the people that you meet. That will make you so much more attractive and magnetic to people because they will see you as this person who even momentarily brought them out of this loneliness. This is a really good exercise for all of you oversharers who then immediately after speaking regret everything they just said. Practice active listening more. It's gonna help you a ton with not sharing as much as you would like. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. What do we do more of? Listening. Also, it will help you create a mystique and a sort of allure around you. If you don't share every single thing you do, people will be like, what is this person thinking? They're so intriguing and mysterious. I've talked about this before on TikTok, but literally the key to becoming 1,000 times more interesting is to keep some things to yourself. And I'm not saying like you have to change your entire personality. And if you're someone who's like super bubbly and likes to talk, that you have to stop being that. I'm not saying that. You can talk a lot without saying and revealing too much. Like, I can talk 2 hours about my favorite kind of pizza, and then after the conversation is over, what do you really know about me? What kind of pizza I like? Okay, what else? Nothing. And I still talked, and I was still bubbly, and I was still myself. A really useful skill you can learn to achieve that is learn how to redirect conversation. Because if someone that you don't really want to share too much with is asking you questions, if you know how to redirect that conversation and bring it back on them, you get more information on them and you create and establish this connection and this bond without them learning that much about you. And remember, there's a reason your heart has a rib cage around it, and that's not to keep people out, but to protect it from anyone who might want to harm it or hurt it. Some of you are not gonna like this, but stop being a hater. I know it feels good. It doesn't, but you think it feels good. I'm telling you, stop being a hater. Remember, you can't give something that you don't have. So you're telling me that it's worth it to let hate into your heart just so you can throw it at someone else who might not even be that affected by it? It's not worth it. Don't let your own energy and your own soul be tainted just because someone made you upset. Instead, work it out inside your mind or in therapy, because I told you I'll be recommending therapy in every single video that I make. Why did this person's words or actions affect me that much? Think about that. Another behavior that is really important to change externally to make you look and be perceived as more attractive and more magnetic is to watch your body language, and that includes how you walk, how you keep your head and your shoulders. You can learn the basics of body language. I don't know if you can see it. This book right there that I'm reading is on body language. Super interesting, by the way. But learn how to adjust your body language into it being open and invitive instead of closed off and negative, because then people will feel more comfortable coming up to you and talking to you and initiating conversation more, because they think that the risk of being rejected by you is lower. A really nice way to work the confidence and the openness of your body language is to keep your neck, like high and tall, as if you're wearing the world's most expensive diamond necklace and you just want to show it off, and you walk slowly and gracefully so that everyone gets a chance to observe it and admire it. Lastly, remember that when you do manage to turn your energy around and be magnetic and attractive and inviting, and everyone is talking to you and flirting with you and wanting to be friends with you, remember that that is not the new status quo, and you can lose that. So you have to actively keep working on it for a while. It won't just be that way forever. Actions require consistency, or you'll go back into stale, stagnant energy. But remember, even if that does happen, because that did happen to me, you can always just go back. You can always just watch this video again and go back into your loving and magnetic and attractive self. Anyways, you got this, bestie. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am eternally grateful for every one of you. Please leave a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Look at my nails, by the way. Like, this is my perfect color. I love it so much. It's such a nice, like, winter color.